35,000 hours, yeah, I'm building mine. Yeah, I'm married to the game, it's not a concubine. It's a battle every day, I'm trying to conquer mine. Count the cost to be the boss, I'm busy counting mine. Orders coming and I'm flexing, it be muscle time. It gets stressing, but I'm pressing, got a hole in line. Niggas falling out the truth and end up losing mind. It's a process to the game, gotta use patience. That progress, that gain, what a Jew chasing. It's all love, but at camp, we be screw facing. They been without order, they gotta see the changes. Gotta be on time, can't delay arrangements. Gotta make time and maintain greatness. It's not about me, it's about the saviors. Trust, faith, loyalty, gotta save us. I'm a foot soldier, I'm a good soldier. I just clock in until the work over. I'm a foot soldier, I'm a good soldier. I just clock in until the work over. Haters mad, they just mad they getting worked over. Haters mad, they just mad they getting worked over. I'm a foot soldier, I'm a good soldier. I just clock in until the work over.
I've been a soldier for so long, I don't wear tennis shoes. Purple shirt, black pants, I'm still in black boots. We done took over the country, should've made the news. I clocked in, I was there, I got the inside scoop. We do the work, I thought you knew about them YouTube views. So much done, and we still got a lot more to do. The enemy's watching, I'm a soldier, so you know I won't move. I'm at the gate, like an angel, heathens ain't getting through. So much faith, look, we straight, and we know what to do. If you a Jew, will tell the truth, you gotta live by God's rules. If you outside or you see us, cause we outside too. And if the word be a swell, we do the work with the tool. You don't believe in God, then I think you a fool. You a lame if you join us, cause you think that it's cool. We were soldiers, we endure, till it's over, before you over, give you the truth that your pastor should've told you. I thought I told you.
I'm a foot soldier, I'm a good soldier. I just clock in until the work over. I'm a foot soldier, I'm a good soldier. I just clock in until the work over. Haters mad, they just mad they getting worked over. Haters mad, they just mad they getting worked over. I'm a foot soldier, I'm a good soldier. I just clock in until the work over.
Deep in sleep, our people slumber. Prophets bring the thunder, won't skip a beat. Like a drummer, wish a demon would. They keep the lumber. The number 144, getting busy. Israel got the antidote. Make a sinner dizzy with the scripts they quote. Pastor Silly, he telling jokes. Get up off the rope, start fighting back. Boots on the ground in Chirac. In the city of town, teaching Christ is black. They losing sleep, insomniac. Wake up, alarm went off. Prophets of God, opposite of soft. All these haters sit around and scoff. Work of the Lord never be put on pause. Be down for the cause if you wanna go home. Put down your sins, tell them leave you alone. Tie your loose ends and you can see the throne. Then you reap, seeds you sown. And we on the rise. My brothers, God's in disguise. My sisters, daughters of kings, we taking over. They know what it mean. It's time for the rise.
It's time for the rise. You don't believe me, just open your eyes. Gathering up all the flocks, see growing. That water's flowing, part of the drip, it's part of the blessing. I'm good, no stressing. God got me, I'm riding forever. Forever and ever, you know the plan, got to endure. Boots on the ground, that gospel on tour. Kicking it raw, I know it get hard. They hate when you right, I'm still in the light. Shout out the leadership, doing it right. All of my haters, I tell them good night. I type up a post, I hold up the post. I'm down with the work, we doing the most. I'm seeing the pain, applying the glory. Pray I do it right, so Christ come back for me. And my bros, hope they coming on with it. All of the saints, you know we got to get it. Growing strong as the clock ticking close. See the truth on approach. Been too long, we've been down at the bottom. Every hood done turned into Gotham. Ain't no Batman, but bet they be robbing and killing and stealing and getting lit. So we out in the ghettos and towns and cities to wake up the remnant. This the life of an Israelite. Keep the laws and the faith of Christ. You can live or die twice. Repent or die, better get your life. It's time for the rise. You don't believe me, just open your eyes. Gathering up all the flocks, see it growing. That water's flowing, part of the drip, it's part of the blessing. I'm good, no stressing. God got me, I'm riding forever. forever and ever, yeah.
Keep fully loaded.
You ain't fam, you ain't blood, you ain't cuz. You ain't stay, you ain't show the bros love. You ain't lit, you ain't poppin', you a trip. You ain't valid, you ain't locked, you ain't shit. You not the homie. 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 Nah, but all of my juice is lit. But all of my juice is lit. But all of my juice is lit. All of my Jews lit, pray none of mine never fall to the dirt. Called into the life of the work, restore the tribes, yeah, we building the church. Someone saying they gon' rob but they flop. They was here, all of a sudden they not. False doctrine is smoking the pot. Turned around and then turning the ops, damn. I thought it was death before wake, never mind. I'm just locked in with a better kind. Time getting short in this crunch time, like damn. How you break bread and then break out? They fast food for the takeout. When the Lord send that blaze out like blam. Gotta meditate, gotta read up and participate. Gotta build up, gotta endure, don't dissipate. Gotta reach high, gotta lock in, gotta elevate. Gotta elevate, yeah. You ain't fam, you ain't blood, you ain't cuz. You ain't stay, you ain't show the bros love. You ain't lit, you ain't poppin', you a trip. You ain't valid, you ain't locked, you ain't shit. You not the homie. 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 Nah, but all of my juice is lit. But all of my juice is lit. But all of my juice is lit.
All my juice is lit. Watch me flick of the wrist. I'm bowling out of control. I'm trying to save my soul. Going beast mode. Had to let them go. I had to let them know. This is not for show. Family was tripping, they all in my midst. Happy these niggas, they claiming they real. How you look out when you done made a deal? Blowing that money, the pain that I feel. People be hating, they don't keep it real. You ain't no homie, my boy, you was phony. Thought you was down, but you represent Satan. Trying to make you niggas is basic.
Damn.
Now we lit.
Now we lit.
I ain't lying, homeboy. You ain't shit.
You ain't shit.
You ain't no brand. You a Mitch.
You a Mitch.
Stab your brothers in the back for a lick. I can't do it. Teaching my people through music. Glory to God influence. Thanking my God forgives. Staying loyal to the end. I don't care about the meal. All I wanna be is seal. Niggas be hating for real. Lord, increase my zeal.
You ain't fam, you ain't blood, you ain't cuz. You ain't stay, you ain't show the bros love. You ain't lit, you ain't poppin', you a trip. You ain't valid, you ain't locked, you ain't shit. You not the homie. 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 Nah, but all of my juice is lit. But all of my juice is lit. But all of my juice is lit.
Check. All right, congregation, let's stand and face Jerusalem. Men of Israel, blow trumpets. Trumpets down.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Lord, we come before you today, Lord, on the Sabbath day, asking you for forgiveness of sins, Lord, asking you to drive away those evil spirits from amongst us, Lord, to drive away the evil spirits from amongst brothers and sisters in IUIC, Lord, and put inside of all of us the Spirit of Christ. Lord, we also asking you for you We asking you to have mercy upon the brothers and sisters that is sick. The brothers and sisters that's going through their trials and tribulation, Lord. Heal them, Lord. Send a healing angel over the nation of Israel. Those brothers and sisters that's being afflicted right now, and heal them, Lord. Protect us from our enemies and all that seek to do us harm. But let thy will be done, Lord, and bring thy kingdom of heaven upon earth, Lord. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, everybody say hallelujah. 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 I said amen.
Men of Israel, sons of God, patient saints, sons of God, hand salute.
Most High Christ bless.
Salute down. Face sisters. To the honorable mothers and daughters of Sarah, we say shalom.
Most High Christ bless.
Whew. Courtesy of Jersey. Hey, all praise to the Most High. You brothers and sisters, are you all having a blessed Sabbath?
Yes, sir.
All praises, man. Hey, a lot of things going on around the world today. You know, today's topic I'm going to touch on is war in heaven. War in heaven. Okay, I want to make sure everybody understand when the Bible talk about war in heaven and so forth. I want you all to be able to understand what it's talking about. And you all must be able to explain it clearly. Okay? When the Bible talk about there was war in heaven. All right? So, I want you to go to Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 2. And start at verse 4.
1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 4. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom.
So this is what I want you all to understand. When I teach, when I teach is not with enticing words of man's wisdom. You all understand what I'm saying? When I'm going through the scriptures, when I'm teaching, I don't use enticing words of men's wisdom. Okay, read on.
But in demonstration of the Spirit and of power.
But that's how I teach. You understand? I'm going to the scriptures and I'm teaching, and the Spirit, through the Spirit of Christ, I'm able to bring out the things that I'm bringing out in the scriptures. You all understand that? It's with each one of you brothers that's teachers, okay? A lot of time, brothers, you are a good teacher, but you forgot that it's the Spirit of Christ that's in you while you're able to teach the way you teach, or bring out or understand the things that you understand. Sometimes you brothers think it's of your own. It's you. No. It's the Spirit of Christ that dwelling in you. Read it again.
And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom.
I'm trying to make things plain for you all as I can. I don't be using no big words and none of that stuff. I try to make things as plain for you all as I can. Read on.
But in demonstration of the Spirit and of power.
The demonstration of the Spirit. When the Spirit of Christ is on you, you don't gotta you don't gotta go into all type of man wisdom and so forth. Okay, you just go into the scriptures and you use the word of God. That's what you use. Okay, read on.
That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men.
Because we don't want your faith to stand in the wisdom of men. Okay? That's what none of us faith should stand in, the wisdom of men. Oh, this brother is so wise. He's so educated and, use all these big words and stuff that none of you all understand. Okay, there's nothing wrong in doing that, but I'm just letting you all know. Your faith should not stand on man wisdom. Read on.
But in the power of God.
But in the power of God, meaning what? The power of God is what? Is this word, is this word, the Spirit of Christ that is dwelling in each of us that repent. Okay? We'll go to John 5 and 20 and read that for me.
The book of John, chapter 5, verse 20. For the Father loveth the Son.
1 John 5 and 20. First John 5 and 20, yeah.
1 John chapter 5, verse 20. And we know that the Son of God is come and hath given us an understanding.
Read it again.
And we know that the Son of God is come and hath given us an understanding.
So the reason why we are able to understand the Bible, the reason why we got this understanding that we have is because the Son of God have came and given us that understanding, meaning Christ. Okay, that's why we understand the things we understand. That's why I'm able to go into the scriptures and break it down and so forth. Because why? Because the Son of God have came and he gave us that understanding. Okay, a lot of you brothers, you got understanding and you think it's of your own. Oh, I'm so good at, I'm so wise. The scriptures, the most I, no, it's not because of you why you understand the things you understand, or because you are so smart. It's because the Spirit of Christ have opened your understanding for you to understand these things. Because for most of us, if we wasn't for this truth, what the hell you wouldn't have known nothing. You understand? For real. When you read the scripture, the Bible says the Lord gonna raise up the base things of this world to bring to naught the things that are. Okay? So read it again.
And we know that the Son of God is come and hath given us an understanding.
So Christ come and he give us that understanding. That's why we understand the scriptures. That's why you all understand the Bible. Okay, and none of us should be puffed up. The scripture said knowledge puffeth up. The same way how Christ give us that understanding, he could take it away too. You understand? For all of you teachers, all of you brothers that's out there teaching the Bible, understand, always give the Most High the glory. You understand the understanding that you have, understand the Lord give you that understanding. So what? For what? For a reason. For you to teach a people so he could use you as his vessel. Okay, not for you to be puffed up and be lords over the brothers and sisters. Okay, read it again one more time.
And we know that the Son of God is come and hath given us an understanding.
So the Son of God have come and given us an understanding. Okay? That's why I'm able to understand the things that I understand. That's why you are able to understand the things that you all understand. Because the Son of God, which is Christ, he have come and he have given us that understanding. Okay? Read on.
That we may know him that is true, and we are in him that is true.
And we are in him that is true. That's talking about Christ. Okay, now go to Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 14, 1 and 4 for me.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 4. For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter.
So what I want you all to understand, if you got that malicious, evil spirit on you, wisdom is not going to enter into you. Okay? The Spirit of Christ is not going to enter into you and dwell in you if you have that malicious, evil spirit. Okay? You keep carrying grudges and malice inside of your heart towards other people. Listen, the wisdom, wisdom of Christ is not, the Holy Spirit is not going to be dwelling in you. Okay, read on.
Nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin.
And when it says dwell in the body that is subject to sin, meaning you're always in the midst of some sin, some fornication that you're always in the midst of. The scripture says wisdom is not going to enter into you. Okay, so you young brothers coming to this truth, you all want to be used by God and be his vessel. Listen, just keep his commandments. Get rid of all of that malice. You understand? Don't be subjected unto sin. That's the only time the Spirit of the Lord could use you. You understand? Because I know a lot of you all knew, especially in Jersey here, and I know a lot of you all got things you all dealing with. But we all have to overcome these things. You understand? That's the only time that the Spirit of Christ is going to dwell in you and use you. Okay? All right? So, let's get into the topic. Jump to Revelation 12 and start at verse 1.
The book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven.
So it says there appeared a great wonder in heaven. A great wonder in heaven. Okay, read on.
A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
So who is this woman? This woman that is crowned with a crown on her head and 12 stars. Who is this woman? I want you to go to Jeremiah 6:2 and read that for me.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
So the daughter of Zion, or the Israelites, we are referred to as a comely and delicate woman. All right, so go back to Revelation 12 and read that again.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet.
Clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. Read on.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
And upon her head she had the crown of 12 stars. I want you to go to Genesis 37 and 9 and read that for me.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 9.
So this is going to explain the sun and the moon and the stars. Okay, read that for me.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
So this Joseph had a dream. Joseph said he dreamed that what? Read it again.
Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon.
He said he dreamt that the sun and the moon is going into his father and his mother. Read on.
And the 11 stars.
And the 11 stars is going into his 11 brothers. Read on.
Made obeisance to me.
Made obedience, meaning they was bowing down to him. This is the dream that Joseph had. And when you go into the history, Joseph was sold into Egypt by his brothers, and eventually his brothers, they came to Egypt and they bowed down to him. Okay, so that dream he had about the 12 stars and them bowing down to him, it was going into what? His 12 brothers, which is his 11 brothers, which is the 11 tribes of the children of Israel. All right, so which is the progenitors of the 11 tribes of the tribes of Israel. So go back and read that in Revelation 12.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon.
So that woman is Israel. Read on.
Under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
So them 12 stars upon her head is talking about the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Okay, keep on reading.
And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
So when it says that she, being with child, travail in birth, what is that going into? She being with child. This is twofold right here. Let me go to the first fold. The first part is going into hold on, let me see. The first part is going into, go to Luke 2 and 6. Luke 2 and 6. Get that and read it.
The book of Luke chapter 2 verse 6. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered.
That she should be delivered. The she here is talking about Mary. Read on.
And she brought forth her firstborn son.
And she brought forth her firstborn son. Her firstborn son was who? Was Christ. Read on.
And wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger.
And she laid Christ in a manger. Okay, so now go back to Revelation and read that again.
Revelations chapter 12 verse 2. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
So first and foremost, it's talking about Mary. All right, and it's also talking about who? It's talking about the 12 tribes. Okay? Now, I want you to go to Micah 4 and 10 and read that for me.
The book of Micah, chapter 4, verse 10. Be in pain and labor to bring forth.
So it says what?
Be in pain and labor to bring forth.
It says be in pain. It's talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, that we must be in pain. Read on.
And labor to bring forth.
And we got to labor in this truth to bring forth. Okay, read on.
O daughter of Zion.
Oh, who?
O daughter of Zion.
So this is talking about the daughters of Zion, which is going into the 12 tribes of Israel. Read on.
Like a woman in travail.
So we are like a woman in travail. That's how we are today. Today we are laboring, and we are laboring to bring forth. To bring forth what? The kingdom of heaven on earth. Okay? And we are that woman in travail. Okay, read on.
For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon.
And that's where we are today. We are in Babylon today. Okay? Back then we went into ancient Babylon. Today we are in spiritual Babylon. Okay? So from there, jump back and read that again.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 2. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
So this is twofold. It's talking about Mary, and it's talking about us, the Israelites, being delivered up out of here. You understand? Us being in pain here in our captivity and laboring to bring forth. Okay? So from there, keep on reading.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
So this great red dragon, right? This great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, this great red dragon, who is this red dragon? I want you to go to Genesis 25 and 25 and read that for me.
Genesis 25, verse 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment.
Read on.
And they called his name Esau.
So this red dragon is talking about who?
Esau.
It's talking about Esau. Who is Esau? Esau is the so-called white man today. Okay, that's who Esau is. Okay, so you all pay attention. Now go back and read that in Revelation 12 again.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
A great red dragon, read on.
Having 7 heads.
Having 7 heads. The 7 heads is talking about what? What's the 7 heads? Who is the 7 heads? The 7 heads is talking about Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and Britain. All right? This red dragon is talking about the white superpowers and them that rise up and rule this earth. That is ruling even to today. Okay? Read that again.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
7 heads and 10 horns. The 10 horns is the European nations. Okay, the EU. All right, today is over 27 nations part of the EU, but when they founded it, it was only 10. Okay, mainly what this is talking about? Who this is talking about? It's talking about the Caucasian race. It's talking about white people, Edomites. This great red dragon is talking about white people, Edomites. Read it again.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. Read on.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
And 7 crowns. This is 7 major kingdoms. The 7 superpower white kingdoms that rose up on the earth. Read on.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
And it says that his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. You understand? The third part of the star of heaven, his tail drew. All right? So what is this going into when it says his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven? His tail, we watching at the whole body of the red dragon, right? You looking at the head and all of that, and it goes all the way to his tail. And it says that his tail drew the third part of the stars of the heaven down to the ground. Meaning 3 tribes was taken down by his tail. Okay, that's what it means by the third part of the stars of heaven. Okay, so what happened? I want you to go to Luke 21 and 20 and read that for me.
Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And they watched him. Luke 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
So which army surrounded Jerusalem? The Roman army, the Caucasian race, white people. Okay, so the red dragon is talking, we know it's talking, it's talking about Rome. Okay, that's who it's still talking about. Okay, now we're going into history. Okay, read that again.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
So Jerusalem, the Roman army led by Titus and Vespasian, they came against Jerusalem in 70 AD and they besieged us and they destroyed us. That's what happened. That's in your history books. Okay, you could go into history and look it up. So when it says that the tail drew the third part of heaven, it's talking about those 3 tribes that were the kingdom of Judah. That's what it's talking about. Because the kingdom of Judah was still in Jerusalem at that time. The northern kingdom wasn't there, but the kingdom of Judah was there. So when the Roman Empire came and what? And destroyed Jerusalem. That's what it is saying in Revelation 12. When it says, and it still drew the third part of the stars of heaven to the ground. Okay? Read it again.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
Then know that the destruction thereof is near. Read on.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains.
Christ warned his disciples to flee to the mountains. Read on.
And let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
So it says everything had to be fulfilled which was written. Read on.
But woe unto them that are with child.
Jump down. It says they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
Verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
So the Israelites, those 3 stars, they fell by the edge of the sword by who? By the Romans, by the tail. Okay? By the tail of the dragon. Read on.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
And we were taken away as slaves into all nations when Jerusalem fell in 70 AD. You know what I mean? Roman, right through history, okay, because it's a time span took place here. We fled to the mountains. When we went to Africa and so forth, they came, they enslaved us, and they took us away as slaves. And also in the time of 70 AD, a lot of us was also enslaved back then and taken away as slaves. Okay? So it says what? Read it again.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
And we was led away as slaves into all nations. Read on.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So go back and read that in go back and read it again.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
And it says, so his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. That's going into Rome destroying the kingdom of Judah, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's going into the Romans and them destroying us in 70 AD. Okay? Y'all pay attention. Okay? So from there, I want to explain. Read it again. I want to explain something there.
And his tail drew
read the whole thing from the top.
Verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
The great red dragon is talking about the white man, okay? Edom, okay, read on.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Read on.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
Read on.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
The stars of heaven is talking about the Israelites. Read on.
And did cast them to the earth.
And we were cast to the earth. So the stars of heaven is the 12 tribes of Israel. He cast us down to the earth. Go to Lamentation 2:1 and read that for me. Now, this also happened to us in the time of the Babylonians, okay? But I want to show you all that it used the same analogy. When it says cast down from heaven, it's talking about our rulership, okay? That's what it's talking about. So that's what it's going into. Read that for me.
Lamentations chapter 2 verse 1. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel.
So this happened when? This happened when the Babylonians came against us. We was cast down from heaven to the earth. Okay? When it says we was cast down from heaven to the earth, it don't mean we was up in the sky with God living with him. It mean we was cast down from rulership to the earth. To the earth is going into what? Captivity. Okay? That's what it's going into. Okay? So when you go back and you read it again, go back to Revelation and read it again.
Revelations 12:4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
When it says his tail drew the third part of heaven, of the stars of heaven, and cast them to the earth, it's talking about the Israelites and them being taken into captivity. Our rulership being taken away from us. Who did that? The Romans. Okay, the Romans came and they conquered Jerusalem and they cast us down to the ground. That's history. You all could find that in your history book. As I tell you, the Bible is a history book. Okay, when these things come to pass, they become history. All right, but not everybody could read these scriptures and explain it or understand it. You know, the only reason I'm able to read this and explain it is because Christ give me that understanding. You know, so I want you to keep on reading.
And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
So it says the dragon stood before the woman to devour the child when it was born. No, I want you all to, what this is going into, I want you to go to Matthew 2:13 and read that for me. Matthew 2:13. Remember, the topic is war in heaven. But before I get there, I got to give you all the understanding of the dragon before I get to before I get further up.
Matthew chapter 2, verse 13.
Read.
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt.
And flee where?
And flee into Egypt.
And flee into Egypt. Read on.
And be thou there until I bring thee word.
Read on.
For Herod.
For who?
For Herod.
For Herod. Read on.
Will seek the young child to destroy him.
So Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Okay? Can you look up Herod, nationality of Herod? Can you just pull that up real quick? So, IT, can you pull that up real quick? Now, I want you to read that again for me in Revelations.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 4.
Read.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman.
And the dragon stood before the woman, read on.
Which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
So that's going into what? I just read it. It's going into Herod wanted to kill Christ when he was born. Okay, in Matthew 2 and 13. That's what it's going into. Herod wanted or trying to kill Christ when he was born. Okay, now a lot of time people read about Herod and so forth. It mentioned him as a red dragon, right? Is a reason why it call him the red dragon. When you go to Genesis 25:25, it tell you who? It tell you that Esau is what? Red. It letting you know that Herod was what? Was red. He was an Edomite. Okay? It letting you know that Herod was a white boy. He was an Edomite. Okay? Rome had set him up as king over Judea. You know what I mean? Herod was it was some called there was a set in Israel that was called the Herodians. They was set up by Rome to rule over us. Okay, so you got it there? All right, let's see. Okay, King Herod of Judea. Okay, born Herod by name, Herod the Great, Latin, Herodes. Okay, read that for me. Just read born
73 BCE. Died March/April 4 BCE. Jericho, Judea. Roman appointed king of Judea.
He was appointed a king. He was appointed the king. Roman appointed king of Judea. Okay, meaning Rome put him up as king. He was not our king. He was not our people. Keep on reading.
Who built many fortresses, aqueducts, theaters, and other public buildings.
So does it tell you what's his nationality?
The second paragraph right there.
All right, keep on reading.
Family and early life. Herod was born in southern Palestine.
His southern Palestine, read on.
His father, Antipater, was an Edomite.
Was what?
An Edomite.
Was what?
An Edomite.
So Herod was a white man. He was an Edomite. He was Esau. Okay? So when you read Revelation, when it says that red dragon wanted to kill the child when it was born, it's talking about the so-called white man. It's talking about Satan was working in Herod at that time. Okay? Now, jump back to Revelation and keep reading.
Revelation 12:4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
So this is what they are trying to do with, this is what they tried to do with Christ. Herod tried to do that. But let me show you all something. I want you to jump to Revelation. Stay there and jump to verse. Let me see. I want you to jump to verse 17.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 17.
I want to show you all something. The same thing that the dragon did to Herod. I mean, what that the dragon did to Christ, I'm going to show you all is the same thing the dragon going to do to us today. Read that for me.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
With the woman is talking about who? That woman with the 10 crowns upon, the 12 crowns upon her head. It's talking about Israel. It's talking about the 12 tribes. Read on.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed. The remnant of her seed is us today. That is waking up to the truth that we Israel. Read on.
Which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
So the same way the dragon went to kill Christ is the same way they're going to come in these last days to kill us. Okay? To kill those that following after Christ. To make war with us. Okay? So jump back and keep on reading where you left off at.
Revelation 12:4. Verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child.
And she brought forth a man-child. That's Christ. Read on.
Who was to rule all nations.
And that's what Christ is coming to do. Christ is coming back to rule all nations. Read on.
With a rod of iron.
With a rod of iron. Meaning Christ ain't going to be playing with these nations. Understand that. He's not sitting down and have no peace meetings. What's them meeting that, they keep ceasefire and you see what's going on in Ukraine. You got Russia and Ukraine keep having they having meetings to resolve the conflict over there and so forth. Christ ain't doing that with no nation, man. Okay? The scripture says in righteousness he's going to come and judge and make war. Okay? He ain't going and sit down in no United Nations and NATO and have no conversation with nobody on this earth, man. Okay? Christ is coming back to what? Read it again.
Who was to rule all nations.
And he coming back to rule all nations. Let me get that in Revelation 2:26, man.
Revelations chapter 2, verse 26.
A lot of you all do not understand Christ. Some of you all, when you think about Jesus, you're thinking about that dude with blue eyes and blonde hair. But the Christ of the Bible, he don't play. You understand? Read that for me.
And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end.
So Christ said, if you overcome and you keep his works to the end, read on.
To him will I give power over the nations.
Christ said he's going to give you power over the nations. That's for you so-called black men living here in America that's being oppressed by the nations here. Christ said he's going to give you power over the nations. Read on.
And he shall rule them with a rod of iron.
And you're going to rule the nations with a rod of iron. Read on.
As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers.
And you're going to break them to shivers. Read on.
Even as I received of my Father.
Because Christ received that of the Father. You understand? Christ received that of the Father. That's the power that was given to Christ. Christ said he going to give it to us. Okay? Now go back and read it again.
Revelations 12 verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations.
Read on.
With a rod of iron.
With a rod of iron. Read on.
And her child was caught up unto God.
And her child was caught up unto God. So when there's a lot of history behind here. When it says her child was caught up unto God, Christ was crucified, he resurrected, and then he ascended to the heavens. Get that in Acts 1 and 9. And read that for me.
Acts chapter 1 verse 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight.
So it says Christ was taken up, and a cloud received him. You understand? He was taken up where? In the heavens. And the cloud that received him was what? The chariots. What some of you all might call UFOs today. Okay, read on.
And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven.
So the same way you see him ascending in the chariot, going up in the sky, the same way he won't come back. Okay, so go back and read it again in Revelations.
Revelations chapter 12 verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
That should rule all nations with a rod of iron. Read on.
And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne.
Okay, keep on reading.
And the woman fled into the wilderness.
So now we read about Christ. All right. It says Christ went back to the Father, went up in the heavens. Okay. So now it jumping in history. Okay. It says we keep on reading.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
So that wilderness is the land of our captivity. Okay, so a lot of time took place here. When we read further down, it says that the tail drew the third part of the stars down to heaven. So when Rome destroyed us, this is when this took place. We fled into a wilderness where we was a place prepared of God, where we were fed there 350 years. That's what it means when it says 3,002 and 3 days. 350 years. Okay, we was here in Babylon, and these lands that we was made slaves. Okay, I want to say we're going to be there for 350 years being fed. When you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 48, remember what it says. Therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies for the want of all things. Okay, that's what it means that we're going to be fed there. Okay, now keep on reading.
Verse 7.
So after we are bought in the land of our captivity, right? And we are being fed here and so forth. Read that again. Read that for me.
Verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
So now the scripture says there is war in heaven. Read on.
Michael and his angels fought.
And it says Michael and his angel going to fight. Read on.
Against the dragon.
Going to fight against the dragon. Read on.
And the dragon fought.
And the dragon going to fight. Read on.
And his angels.
And his angels going to fight. Okay, read on.
And prevailed not.
And they not going to prevail. Read on.
Neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
Neither was there any place found anymore for them in heaven. Right? Read on.
And the great dragon was cast out.
And that great dragon was cast out. Read on.
That old serpent.
Read on.
Called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
So he was cast out in the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. So this right here, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to explain that. You know, a lot of times, you know, a lot of us came from the Christian church, and when we read that, we thinking that, oh, they were fighting, Michael was fighting Satan in heaven, and, you know, Satan was cast down to the earth, and so forth. What I'm showing you all is that, remember, this is carrying on the same thought that we start off reading. The red dragon is who? Is Esau. Is the so-called white man. Okay, that's who the red dragon is. Okay, so what is this going into when it says that there will war in heaven? Okay, now remember when I tell you all, when you mention the word heaven, sometimes it's talking about where the Most High dwell at. There's another time it's talking about the sky. And there's another time when it's talking about authority or kingdom. Okay? So now, let's see what the heaven here is talking about. Now I want you to go to, read it again. Read that again.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
It says, there was war. There was war in heaven. Okay? So there was war in heaven. I want you to go to Judges 5 and 20 and read that for me. Judges 5 and 20 also explain a little about war in heaven. Okay? Get that and read that for me.
The book of Judges chapter 5 verse 20. They fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera.
It says the stars in their courses, meaning the tribes, the 12 tribes. Okay, they fought who?
The stars in their courses fought against Sisera.
Sisera was the commander of the Canaanites' army and so forth. At this time, the heathens and them was oppressing us. Okay, and the Lord rose up Deborah at that time. Okay, she went out with the brothers and them and so forth. The Lord was dealing with her. Okay, and we end up destroying our enemies. Okay, you all could read that whole history by yourself. But read it again from the top.
They fought from heaven.
So there was war in heaven, meaning the Canaanites and the other nations, they was fighting against us in the land. You know what I mean? Was trying to take away our rulership from us. Okay, read it again.
They fought from heaven.
They fought from heaven. Read on.
The stars in their courses.
The stars in their courses. The stars is the 12 tribes. Read on.
Fought against Sisera.
We fought against who?
Sisera.
Sisera was a Canaanite commander, the Canaanite general. Okay, we fought against him. Read on.
The river of Kishon swept them away.
And we swept them away. We destroyed them. Okay. So in this scripture, given the analogy of us fighting the Canaanites and them, fighting the other nations, all right, it referring to that as a what? As war in heaven. Okay. So from there, I want you to go to, hold on. I want you to go to Matthew 24 and 7. Now I'm going to simplify it to make it very plain for you all to understand. When it says there was war in heaven, it's not going into war up in the sky or war where the Most High God dwell at. Okay, read that for me.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
So it says nations shall rise up against nations. When it says that there shall be war in heaven, the heaven here is talking about what? It's talking about kingdoms. It's talking about rulers on this earth. You understand? Read it again.
For nation shall rise against nation.
So this is what Christ prophesied. Christ prophesied that there are going to be wars and nations going to fight against nations. Read on.
And kingdom against kingdom.
And kingdoms going to fight against kingdoms. When it says there shall be war in heaven, it's talking about kingdoms fighting against kingdoms. As what you see happening right now on the earth with Russia and Ukraine. You understand? That's what it's when it says there shall be war in heaven. That's what it's talking about. Kingdoms fighting against kingdoms. Read it again.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
Jump to verse 21.
Verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation.
And read it again.
For then shall be great tribulation.
For then there shall be great tribulations. Okay, great tribulations is going into that great destruction that's going to come on this earth. Okay, read on.
Such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time.
This great tribulation is talking about what? World War III. Okay, this is talking about what we read in Revelation 12 and 7. When it says there will war in heaven. Okay, when it read and it says there will war in heaven, it's talking about World War III. Okay, and I'm going to prove that. Read it again.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time.
It says such as there were never in the beginning of the world, even till that same time. Read on.
No, nor ever shall be.
And there will never be a time of trouble like that again on the earth. Okay, as I said, this is talking about World War III. When all these nations, when America and China and all these nations start bombing each other with nuclear weapons. That's the time it's talking about. Okay, there will be no other time like that on this earth ever again. That time is coming, brothers. Okay, so read it again.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
Read on.
And except those days be shortened.
And expect them days be shortened in World War III. Read on.
There should no flesh be saved.
And nobody gonna be left on this earth if Christ don't intervene. Okay? So from there, I want you to go to Daniel 10 and 12 and 1. Daniel 12 and 1 is the same thing that Matthew 24 is saying. Matthew 24 and 21. Read that for me.
Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up.
At that time shall who?
Shall Michael stand up.
Remember, we just read in Revelation that there was war in heaven. And the dragon and his angel fought, and Michael and his angel fought. Right? I'm going to explain that a little later on, but keep on reading. Read it again.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people.
So at that time it's talking about when? It's talking about that time of trouble that they have never been on this earth before. It's talking about World War III. You understand? It's talking about the third woe. That's what it's talking about. At that time, the Bible says that Michael, he going to stand up and fight for us. He going to fight for the children of Daniel people. Okay? What time this is? This is talking about what? When the war was taking place in heaven. Meaning what? When the nations and them is fighting each other. when the kingdoms and them is fighting each other. You understand? When America is fighting China and Russia fighting Ukraine. You understand? And Europe fighting America. Okay? That's what it's going into. When it says there will war in heaven, it's talking about Esau, China, and all these nations fighting each other. You understand? That's what it's talking about when it says there will war in heaven. Okay, read it again in Daniel's.
And at that time shall Michael stand up,
Read on.
the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people.
Read on.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
And that time of trouble is World War III. Okay? That time of trouble is World War III. Okay? Read on.
And at that time thy people shall be delivered.
And at that time the Israelites going to be delivered. Read on.
Everyone that shall be found written in the book.
All right, so I'm going to jump back to that and and go into that a little later on. I'm going to touch on that a little more. Okay? So from there, I want you to go to Isaiah 13 and 13. So what I'm going over right here, I'm trying to show you all when it says there will war in heaven. That war that taking place in heaven, first and foremost, that's going into what? It's going into World War III. It's going into the nations and them fighting with each other. All right? It's going into crazy destruction taking place on this earth. You know what I mean? China fighting America. Okay? Russia fighting this country. Europe fighting America. That's the time of trouble it's talking about. It's talking about World War III. When we read that there was war in heaven and Michael and the angel fought, is the same thing it's saying in Daniel 12:1. At that time, Michael going to stand up and fight for thy people. Okay, the same thing we're reading. Okay, read.
Isaiah chapter 13 verse 13.
Read on.
Therefore, I will shake the heavens.
So God says he will what?
I will shake the heavens.
He's going to shake the heavens. The heavens here is talking about what? The heavens here is talking about what? Who could say it? It's talking about the rulers. It's talking about the kingdoms. God said he's going to shake the kingdoms. Okay, read on.
And the earth shall remove out of her place.
This is war in heaven. This is what we just read in Revelation 12:7. This is war in heaven. Okay, the Lord says what? Read it again.
Therefore, I will shake the heavens.
How the heavens gonna be shaken? With them nuclear bombs. That's how the heavens gonna be shaken. The heavens is talking about the kingdoms of this earth. How would they be shaken? They're gonna be shaken with them nuclear bombs that gonna be hitting them. The nuclear bomb that going to be hitting America. The nuclear bomb that going to be hitting China. Okay? That's how the heavens going to be shaken. Read on.
And the earth shall remove out of her place.
And when them bombs drop on America, when them bombs drop on China, the Bible says that the earth going to move out of its place. Meaning the natural way the earth rotates right now. You see how the earth move, it turn on its axis and so the earth gonna be moved. The way how the earth is circulating and the sun and everything is the earth gonna be moved out of its place when that time of trouble take place during World War III. Y'all understand? That's what's gonna happen. Read it again one more time.
Therefore, I will shake the heavens.
So bombs, when it says, God says he's going to shake the heavens, meaning bombs going to be dropped on all these kingdoms. They're going to be warring with each other and dropping nuclear bombs on each other. Read on.
And the earth shall remove out of her place.
And in them dropping these bombs, the earth is going to move out of its place. Okay, that's how bad this war going to be. That's going to take place. Okay? Now, I want you to go to Isaiah 14 and 16 and read that for me.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16.
This is explaining to you, this is explaining that when it says shake the heavens, it's going into shaking. It's talking about kingdoms. It's talking about nations. All right? That's what it's talking about. Okay, it ain't talking about the sky shaking or none of that. It's talking about nations and kingdoms. It's talking about America, China, Russia, Europe. Okay? When it says there will war in heaven, it's talking about all these nations warring with each other. Read it again.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble?
How did America make the earth tremble? When he dropped them nukes on them, when he dropped them bombs on them. Okay, so America made the earth to tremble. Read on.
That did shake kingdoms.
And remember what we just read. What we just read in the other scripture, that the Lord will do what? Jump back there and read that again.
Isaiah 13,
verse
13. Therefore, I will shake the heavens.
So God says he's going to shake the heavens. Read on.
And the earth shall remove out of her place.
So God says he's going to shake the heaven and the earth going to remove out of its place. Okay, now jump back to where you was at.
Isaiah 14, verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble?
He made the earth tremble what? When he dropped them bombs. Read on.
That did shake kingdoms.
And he shake what?
Kingdoms.
What?
That did shake kingdoms.
So when God says he shall shake the heavens, it's talking about the kingdoms and them. Hope you all see the correlation. When God says he's going to shake the heavens, it's talking about them dropping bombs on each other. You know what I mean? It's talking about them dropping bombs on different kingdoms. Like China dropping bomb on this country dropping bombs on that country. Not just regular bombs, nuclear bombs. You feel what I'm saying? That's what it's going into. Read it again one more time. And this prophecy is after Babylon have been destroyed. That's why it says that they shall look on them and say, art thou become as weak as us? Because Babylon is already destroyed here. You understand? But he's letting you know what they did. Read it again.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble?
That made the earth tremble. Read on.
That did shake kingdoms?
And did shake kingdoms. Did shake kingdoms. Did shake kingdoms. Okay? That's going into what? That's going into, go back to Revelation and read that again.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
And there was war in heaven. Okay? When it says shake kingdoms, they're talking about the war that is going on in kingdoms. You understand? The war that is going on in kingdoms. You got the nations of the earth warring with each other. Okay? That's what it means when it says there will war in heaven. Okay? All right? So read it again.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
So there was war in heaven, and it says Michael and the angels fought, and his angel also fought. You understand? Meaning Satan. And listen, we're about to switch it up a little with you all. Now, when Christ returned, I want you all to understand there's going to be war on different fronts. Okay? What do I mean by that? We just read that the nations and them going to be warring in heaven, right? And then Michael going to come. Michael the angel going to come and fight for us and so forth. Okay? But what I want you all to understand is not going to just be war that going to be taking place amongst the nations and you know, that's it. When the angels and them come back to war, they're going to also be war taking place on a spiritual realm. You all understand? There's going to be war. When it says there will war in heaven, it's also talking about on a spiritual realm also. Okay? That war that going to be taking place, that final world war that you see going to be taking place in the third war, when the angels and them come, when Michael and all the angels and them come, they're going to be fighting in the spirit realm. You understand? And that's what I'm going to show you all right now real quick. So read it again.
Verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
And the dragon fought and his angel. I want you to go to Ephesians 6 and 12 and read that for me. Ephesians 6 and 12. A lot of times we read this, but I want you brothers and them, I want you brothers to understand there is things around us that we can't see. There is demons, spirits, unclean spirits. You understand? Evil angels. You understand? There's certain things that is out there that we can't see with our physical eyes. And you got to have a spiritual eye to see it. You know what I mean? Meaning the Lord have to open your understanding to see it. That's why sometimes we might watch at the brother and say, yo, this dude got a demon on him. You know what I mean? We could see the demon. Some of y'all, we could see the damn demon on you all, man. Okay? Read that for me.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
So the Bible says we are not fighting against flesh and blood. Okay? The flesh and blood, that's not what we fighting. Okay, read on.
But against principalities.
Principalities, read on.
Against powers.
Again, we are fighting against powers. We are fighting against principalities and powers. Read on.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
There is rulers of darkness of this world. You understand? There is rulers that is set up. They are ruling the darkness of this world. Okay? And that's who we are fighting. Meaning what? There is spiritual demons that is connected to a lot of these rulers. You know, Fauci, Bill Gates, Trump, you know, all these leaders, there is a demon working inside of each one of them. And that's why I'm going to show you. I'll keep on reading.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Read on.
Against spiritual wickedness.
Against what?
Against spiritual wickedness.
Against what?
Against spiritual wickedness.
There is spiritual wickedness taking place. As I tell you, brothers, there is a spiritual realm that we can't see with our naked eye. You understand? There is a spirit world, you know, where demons and so forth is, and we can't see it. You understand? We cannot see it. Okay? But that's what we are fighting. Okay? When you read it, tell you that when you read the scripture, it tell you about all these demons Christ was casting out of people. But there is a spiritual realm that we can see with our natural eyes. Okay? So we are fighting against spiritual what?
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
We are fighting against spiritual wickedness in high places. In high places meaning in governments. Y'all understand? In high places in governments. In high places in society. You know what I mean? That's what we are fighting. Now, let me show you all something. I'm going to show you all something. Now, I want you to go. So when the scripture says that Michael and his angel fought and Satan and his angel fought, it's talking about the armies, but it's also talking about the angels fighting demons and casting them down. The demons that is working in Esau. The demons that tell them how to come up with them nuclear weapons and all of that. You understand what I'm saying? All them things being cast down too. And that's what I'm going to show you all. I want you to go to Matthew. Hold on there. Where am I? Matthew 8 and 28.
The book of Matthew chapter 8, Verse 28. And when he was come to the other side into the country of Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils.
They met him what?
There met him two possessed with devils.
I tell you all, there is devils on this earth. The devils, what we just read in Ephesians, is spiritual wickedness. Y'all understand? Read on.
Coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way.
So you had this dude, he had demons on him. Unclean spirits was on him. Read on.
And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God?
So this is them, the demons and them, they saw Jesus Christ. They saw him. And this is what they say to him. Read that again.
What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God?
Read on.
Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
Have thou come to what?
Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
So what is that going into? What is that going into? It says, have thou come to torment us before the time? What is this saying? This is saying that demons have a time to rule on this earth. This is a literal demon, but Christ could see that demon because Christ could see in the spirit realm and so forth. We can't see it, but there's demons all over the place, man. When you go outside, the woman that in the midst of adultery, you understand, the homosexual, okay? Every last one of these wickedness you see people doing, it's a demon that's on them. I hope you all understand that. You know what I mean? You brothers and sisters that got that hatred, you got that hate spirit in you, that hatred spirit, that's a demon on you. Okay? It's things in the spirit realm that we cannot see. It's things taking place, and when Christ returns, that there's a war going to take place in the spiritual realm, and all these demons, they're going to be cast down, and they're going to be destroyed. You know, read it again. Read that last part again.
What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
Have you come to torment us before the time? Okay? To torment us before the time. So the time is coming. No, they're going to be cast down and they're going to be cast in fire and they're going to be tormented. Those demons. This is a demon speaking here. Okay, they're going to be cast down and they're going to be tormented when Christ returns. And these demons is working on the people of disobedience. All of you brothers and sisters that is against this Bible, is against this truth, that is against God, them demons is working on you. But there's different levels of demons. It's different levels to these demons. Okay? Now I want you to go to Luke 4 and 6 and read that for me. Now, all of them demons got an answer to Satan though. They all work for Satan. Okay? Read that for me.
The book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 6. And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them.
So the devil says, all the power will I give you and the glory of them. He's talking about the power where? The power here on the earth. Okay, read on.
For that is delivered unto me.
For the power on this earth, it was given unto me. Read on.
And to whomsoever I will, I give it.
And whomsoever Satan want to, he going to give that power. And we all know who he gave that power to. He gave that power to Esau, which I'm going to read when you read Revelation 13 and 1. It's 13 and 1. It says, and the dragon gave him his power. The dragon is talking about Satan. Satan gave Esau his power. Okay? So from there, so what I want to show you is that Satan is ruling this earth. This earth belongs to Satan. He have a time to rule this earth, and with him he have demons. He got leagues and leagues of demons, millions and millions of demons that's with him. Okay? And them demons' job is to jump on you and to defile you. You understand? And as I said, there is different levels to demons. What do you call that dude, Fauci? You know what I mean? He got a different demon on him. All right? What's the other dude? Bill Gates. He got a different demon on him. Every last one of these dudes got demons, man. And the demons is dictating them and telling them what to do in this society today. Okay, Obama, when he legalized homosexuality and all of that, is a demon was on him, man. You feel what I'm saying? Okay, so from there, read that one more time again.
And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it.
And whomsoever he will, he said he gonna give that power to. You understand? So from there, what I want to show you all, I want you to go to we are fighting against spiritual wickedness in high places. When you read Revelation 12, when it says there will war in heaven, yes, it's talking about the war that's going to take place with the nations fighting with each other. But in the midst of the nations fighting each other, there's going to be a war taking place in a spiritual realm where spiritual wickedness in high places is going to be being bound and cast down. Okay? I want you to go to Daniel 10. Daniel 10. I want you to read that for me. And that's what I'm going to show you all right here real quick. Nah, I don't want verse 1. Hold on, I'm going to tell you what I want. I want 11 and 13, and I think I want something else too. The part with Christ. All right. So read that for me.
Daniel chapter 10, verse 13. Verse 13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia.
Read further up.
Verse 12.
No. Jump back up. Okay. I want the point. We got to read it so they could get the point. Who is speaking here? Yeah.
Verse 7.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Okay, start at verse 9, man.
Verse 9. Yet heard I the voice of his words. And when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face towards the ground. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling.
Read on. This is Christ. Read on.
Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thy heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words.
So it says, thy words was heard, and I have come for thy words. Okay? So this is speaking about Christ right here, man. Okay? Read on.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia.
But the what?
The prince of the kingdom of Persia.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia, read on.
Withstood me.
Was withstood in him. What is that going into? What is that going into when it says the king, the prince of Persia was withstanding him? This is Christ here. What was going on here? What was taking place? There were war going on earth. Kingdoms was warring against each other. You had the Persians and the Medes. It was becoming the end of their empire. The empire was being transitioned onto the Greeks. So there was war taking place. Okay? So it says here that Christ was warring with the prince of Persia. Who he was warring with? Who was in the prince of Persia? Who was in the prince of Persia? Was it literally Christ fighting with the prince of Persia? Who he was fighting with? Who could help me?
Hey, Shalom leadership. It wasn't literally the king of Persia. It was Satan that tried to withstand Christ.
It was Satan. That's who it was. It was not the king of Persia himself. The king, Satan, was literally in the king of Persia. You understand what I'm saying? And that's who Christ was fighting. Okay? Why he was fighting him? Because Satan was trying to prevent probably prophecies from being fulfilled. And Satan, there is war that always taking place on a spiritual realm that we can't see. I hope you all understand that. There's always war that taking place in a spiritual realm that we might not see. Okay? So read that again.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia, it says that what? That he withstood Christ. He withstood him. And what that also shows, that Satan got what? He got some power. Okay, read on.
21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me.
So Christ said, listen, Michael came to help me. You understand? Satan was withstanding me, but Michael came and helped me. Read on.
And I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what.
And he said he remained there with the kings of Persia. You understand? So he was over there fighting. You understand? They was over there fighting that demon Satan that was in the prince of Persia. Him and Michael. Read on.
Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days.
So he said, no, I come to let you know. This is Christ. Christ said, telling Daniel, I come to let you know what's going to befall your people in the last days, meaning in this time that we are living in right now. Okay? So from there, I'm jumped to verse 20.
Verse 20. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia.
So he said, no, I'm returning back to fight with the prince of Persia. As I tell you all, this is the spiritual warfare that's going on. Meaning Christ is fighting in the spirit realm with the angel. I mean with him and Michael is fighting against Satan. They fighting Satan in the spirit realm. Okay, read on.
And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come.
And he said, when I go forth and fight with the prince of Persia, he said the Greeks gonna come. You know, what is this showing you? That the Most High is involved in these different kingdom rising up. You feel what I'm saying? You know, that's what this is showing you, that the Most High is involved in these kingdoms rising up. Okay? So this was the transition of the Persian Empire to the Greek Empire. Okay? The Most High was involved in all of that. Christ was there too. Okay? So from there, you got that in Ezra's?
Yes, sir.
So this is what I want to show you all. When it says, first read that in Revelation 12 and 7 again.
Revelations chapter 12 verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
So when it says there was war in heaven, I want to show you all something. Jump back and read that. Go to Ezra's and read that for me.
Second Ezra chapter 13 verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another.
And it says one shall undertake to fight another. Read on.
One city against another.
And it says one city against another. No, jump further up.
Verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
So this is talking when the Most High start to deliver us. This is talking about when Michael, the angel come to deliver us. All right, to fight for us. Read on.
And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth.
Everybody going to be astonished when Christ return. Read on.
And one shall undertake to fight against another.
And you're going to have war in heaven. You're going to have war in heaven. You're going to have one person fight, one kingdom fighting against another. Read on.
One city against another.
You're going to have one city against another. This is war in heaven. Read on.
One place against another.
Read on.
One people against another.
Read on.
And one realm against another.
And one what?
And one realm against another.
And one what?
And one realm against another.
When it says one realm against another, it's talking about kingdoms too, but it's also talking about the spiritual realm. You understand? Michael and the angels, they're going to be fighting and they're going to be casting on all these demons in the spiritual realm. That's why it says one realm against another. Okay? Read on.
And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I showed thee before.
All right, so from there, I want you to jump to, it says, I want you to jump to, hold on there. I want you to jump to 2 Kings. No, I want you to jump to, I want you to jump to 1 Joshua 5 and 13. Joshua 5 and 13, and read that for me. So when it says realms against another, it's talking about the realm here, it's talking about the spirit world. All right? They're going to be war. Listen, Satan and all his angels going to be cast down. That spiritual demon, Satan, Michael going to deal with him. You feel me? And Christ is going to deal with the armies of the earth. And I'm going to show you all that. Read on.
Joshua chapter 5 verse 13. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand.
So Joshua saw this man's sword drawn in his hand. Read on.
And Joshua went unto him.
And Joshua went unto him. Read on.
And said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversaries?
So Joshua said, are you for us or our enemies? Joshua is ready to fight this dude. Read on.
And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord, am I now come.
So he said, who is captain of the host? This is Christ. Okay, read on.
And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant?
So when Israel went forth, okay, and we was conquering, all right, there was war being fought in the spirit realm too. Christ was there with the angels, and they were fighting with us too also. What I want you all to understand is when we fight, Christ and the angels, they are there fighting with us always. Understand that. All these wars that we fight, that's why the scripture says it's not by might, nor by strength, but by the Most High. That's how we win. You know what I mean? It's not how strong you are or how much might you have, but it's the Lord. Okay? It's the Lord whether you're going to win or not in a battle. Okay? So Christ was there in the beginning. Christ was there with Joshua. Christ was there with us when we was fighting and destroying them Canaanites out of the land. When we went around Jericho and destroyed that city, Christ and the angels was there with us. And they were fighting with us. Okay? So from there, I want you to go to 2 Kings 6 and 17. Now I tell you all, the world is a spiritual realm that we can't see. Okay? It's evil, spiritual wickedness in high places that we can't reach. Okay? That we can't deal with, where Michael and the angel is going to deal with them. Keep on reading.
2 Kings chapter 6 verse 17. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
So read that again. Read that again, man.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire.
So it says, that's why I tell you, sometimes some things you can't see with your physical eyes. Sometimes the Lord have to open your eyes for you to see some things. You know what I mean? He have to open your eyes. The spiritual realm, the spirit realm, we can see the spirit realm. But the spiritual realm is there. You can't see the demons and so forth that he got walking around outside and so forth. Esau be doing their little movies and be trying to show you a little, but your eyes can't see it. But at this time, even the angels and them that's around us fighting for us, and we can't see it, but we got angels fighting for us. Okay? And when Christ return, he coming back with thousands and thousands of angels, and they gon' fight for us. Okay? Read on. No. So, read on.
Verse 18. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha.
So what I'm showing you all is that the angels fight for us. Okay? At this point of time, the Most High opened up Elisha's servant's eyes so he could see that, listen, he said, more is them with us than them that with them. You understand? He opened up his eyes and showed him the things that's taking place in the spiritual realm. You know what I mean? He tell you that he saw an angel with buckler. They was ready for war. You understand? He had angels around him ready for war. And that's how we got to look at things, man. The angels and them, they are encamped around us ready for war. Okay, they're just waiting. They're just waiting. You know, they're just there waiting for the Most High to give the order. Then all of them coming back with Christ and Michael, and they're ready for war. All these demons and them on the earth going to be cast down. And they're going to destroy Esau too.
That's right.
You understand? No, Christ by himself going to destroy Esau armies.
Right.
The angels and them going to be taking on these spiritual wickedness, these demons that's inhabiting these leaders of this earth. All of them going to be bound. You understand? All of them going to be taken down. Okay, that's why the demon said what? Have you come to torment us before our time? That's why the demon said that to Christ, because they have a time to rule on this earth. I hope everybody understand. Everybody paying attention. Okay? So, where am I?
Who was that first Kings?
No, I want you to go to did I read Joshua? Okay. I want you to go to Maccabees 5 and start at verse 1. Second Maccabees 5 and 1.
Second Maccabees chapter 5, verse 1. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt. And then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air, in cloth of gold and armed with lances like a band of soldiers.
So this is what the apparition that our forefathers were seeing. Okay, this apparition our forefathers were seeing. There was a war taking place in the spiritual realm. All of them saw this for how many days?
For almost 40 days.
For almost 40 days, the men of Israel, they saw like war taking place in the sky. You understand what I'm saying? They saw people fighting and so forth with spears and, you know on.
For the space of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air in cloth of gold and armed with lances like a band of soldiers.
So this is the same thing that Elisha, that the prophet made his servant saw. Okay, read on.
And troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another.
So they was fighting against each other. They keep seeing these apparitions in the sky. That was war taking place in a spiritual realm. That what was going on right there. Read on.
With shaking of shields and multitude of pikes and drawing of swords and casting of darts and glittering of golden ornaments and harness of all sorts.
Okay. So from there, I want you from there, well, as I said, this is showing you all that there is war that take place on spiritual realms, man. Okay. So, hey, I send you all that video there. So go back to Revelation 12 and read that for me.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
So the Bible says there was war in heaven. Okay, when it says there was war in heaven, can that video right there, can you pull that video right there and read that and play that for me? I'm going to tell you where I want there. The captain just sent me a video. Yeah, pull that video for me. Go to 7:16. There will war in heaven. Let me see. We're going to just skip. I want the whole 3. It's like 3 minutes, he said. All right, you ain't get it as yet? All right, if you ain't get it, let's keep going in the scriptures. Keep reading that for me.
And there was war in heaven.
So it says there will war in heaven. Read on. When it says in heaven, what it's talking about? The kingdoms of this earth. Nations warring with each other. When it says there will war in heaven. Read on.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
And so it says Michael and his angels fought what?
Fought against the dragon.
Fought against the dragon. The dragon here is talking about who? It's talking about Satan and Esau. Because Satan is dwelling in Esau. Remember, these evil, wicked spirits is dwelling. They got to dwell in somebody. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so he fought against, but the dragon here is talking about Esau. And Satan is dwelling in him. Okay, all right, read on.
And the dragon fought and his angels.
And the dragon fought, meaning Esau going to fight, and his angel is going into his armies. His armies going to fight too. You feel what I'm saying? Now, when it says his angel is twofold, it's also talking about them demons that we read in Matthew 28. Have thou come to torment us before our time? Them demons going to be fighting too. You all understand? Okay? So it's twofold. His angels is talking about his armies, and it's talking about demons. Okay, I want you to go to Revelation 19 and 19 and read that for me.
The book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse.
So they wanted to make war against Christ. When it says Satan fought and his armies, that's what it's going into right here. You know, when it said the dragon fought and his angels, this is what it's talking about. Read it again.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth.
So the beast is that same red dragon that we read about. Read on.
And their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse.
Read on.
And against his army.
And against what?
And against his army.
And they want to make war against Christ's armies. Christ's armies is who? The angels. Read on.
And the beast was taken.
And the beast, the so-called white man, was taken. Read on.
And with him the false prophet.
The false prophets is all these lying pastors that he got set up on the earth. Read on. All you damn Christians, you're going to be taken. Read on.
That wrought miracles before him.
Read on.
With which he deceived them that have received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image.
And them that worship white Jesus. Read on.
These both were cast alive into a lake of fire.
So it says they were cast alive in the lake of fire. Read on.
A lake of fire burning with brimstones.
That's them being tormented. Okay, and them same spiritual demons, they going to be cast in that fire too, being tormented too. That's why it says the angels going to fight too. Okay? But I'm going to touch on this a little more. As I said, there's going to be war on a physical front and a spiritual front when Christ returns. Okay? Demons going to be being cast down from power, from rulership. Okay? And these governments that's ruling the earth today, they're going to be taken down too. Okay? That's what's going to happen when Christ returns. Now, okay, you know, I'm not going to mess with that video. Yeah, play. Jump to it real quick. So this is when it says there will war in heaven. Which part you playing from? 7:14. Okay, jump to it, jump to it. Man. This is taking place in the spiritual realm. In the spiritual realm, this is taking place. That's Michael and the angel going to be fighting with Satan and his angel. This is going to be taking place in the spiritual realm that we can't see while there is war in heaven. While America is being destroyed and these nations fighting with each other and bombing each other and so forth. You got the demons and you're going to have the angels and them fighting. You feel me? All of them gonna be cast into the bottomless pit. Alright. So the angels and them gonna be fighting. I don't want to play all of that. The angels gonna be fighting when you see this take place, man. Okay? They're gonna be war on a physical front and a spiritual front. Okay? Now I want you to go to Matthew 25 and 41.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
So that eternal fire is prepared for who?
For the devil and his angels.
That's the same thing we just read in Revelation 19:19. Okay? That is prepared for the devil and his angels. And when it says the devil and his angels, it's talking about who? It's talking about his armies, and it's also talking about them spiritual wickedness in high places. All right? It's literally talking about demons. Okay? So from there, I want you to go to Habakkuk 3 and 16. Now I'm going to show you all some real quick concerning when Christ returned. Okay? No, go back. No, go back and read. Go back to Revelation 12 and read that for me. Read that again.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 7.
Read it again.
And there was war in heaven.
So there was war on the kingdoms on these kingdoms on the earth. There was war. What war this is talking about? World War III. Okay, read on.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
So Michael and the angels going fought against the dragon. The dragon here is talking about Esau. Read on.
And the dragon fought and his angels.
And Esau is going to fight with his angels. His angels is what? His angels is his armies, and his angels is these demons that possess them. Read on.
And they prevailed not.
And they not going to prevail. Read on.
Neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
Meaning there was no place found for them in rulership anymore. That's why it says there was not found any place for them in heaven. The word heaven here is talking about talking about their kingdom ruling. There's no place found in heaven for them anymore. It's not talking about them cast out from where the Most High live at. You know what I mean? Meaning they were taken down from rulership. When Christ and the angels and them come back on this earth, the white man is going to be taken down from ruling this earth. Y'all understand? That's how I'm explaining it. I'm simplifying it for y'all. Now, go to Habakkuk. Oh, no, keep on reading. Go to Habakkuk. Go to Habakkuk. Let me speed it up. Let me go to Habakkuk, man. Oh, man. Let me give you the scripture. Hold on. Habakkuk 3 and 16.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 16. When I heard, my belly trembled. My lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones. And I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble.
That I may rest in the day of trouble. Read on.
When he cometh up unto the people.
He says, when Christ cometh up to the people. Read on.
He will invade them with his troops.
He going to invade them with his troops. What's the troops? The troops is the angels. The troops is Christ's army. Read on.
Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines. The labor of the olive shall fail, and the fields shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls.
Okay, so it says that the point I wanted out of there is that Christ is going to invade with his troops. Okay, he's going to invade where? Invade the planet Earth. You know, you watch them like Independence Day. You see them ships like them chariots coming in, and they say, oh, that's aliens. They coming to destroy mankind. It says Christ is going to invade this earth with his troops. Christ is coming from space, all right? And he's going to invade this earth with what? His troops is the angels, okay? And he's going to make war with the so-called white man and his armies and the damn demons and them that possess all of these rulers of this earth. All these spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, I want you to go to 2 Ezra 13.
Second Ezra chapter 13.
Yeah.
Verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea.
A wind from the sea that, read on.
That it moved all the waves thereof.
The wind from the sea that moved all the waves thereof. Read on.
And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong.
What is the wind? The wind from the sea is talking about Christ's armies. You understand? The wind from the sea is talking about the armies of heaven. Christ's army. Okay, read on.
And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven.
So you see, it's explaining. Read on.
And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
It says everything tremble when they see Christ. When Christ return, everybody going to tremble when they see him. He coming back with thousands of angels, and they all going to be rolling in them things that you all see, that you all be seeing, and you all thinking is UFOs. Okay, read on.
And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice.
It says when Christ speak, it says he's going to be killing people, man. Everybody just burn when they hear his voice. What is that going into? Go to Isaiah 4, Isaiah 11 and 4 and read that for me.
The book of Isaiah chapter 11 verse 4. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor.
But with righteousness shall he judge the poor. Read on.
And reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth.
So Christ is going to smite the earth with the rod of his mouth. Meaning Christ ain't lifting up no weapons to fight. He says when he talk, people going to drop dead. You understand? When he talk, people going to be getting burnt up. Okay? Read it again, man.
But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked.
With the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Okay? That's it on that?
Yeah.
I jump back to 2nd Ezra.
2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 4. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice.
It says when the voice came out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. Read on.
Like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven.
So when Christ returned, it tell you that armies, all the armies of the earth going to come together to fight against him. That's his angels when it says that the dragon fought and his angels. Read on.
to subdue the men that came out of the sea.
They gonna think they could fight against Christ. Read on.
But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid.
It says everybody that was gathered together, all the armies of the earth that gonna be gathered together to subdue Christ. You're gonna have Russia. You're gonna have the 10 common markets. You understand? You're gonna have them nations that was not destroyed in that war. You know what I mean? In that World War III. Them nations that was not destroyed with them when them bombs and stuff drop. Okay? They gonna come together to fight against Christ. That's what's gonna happen. That's the prophecy. Okay, read on.
All they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid.
They're going to be afraid when they see him, but read on.
And yet durst fight.
But they're going to fight because they got them spiritual demons in them. You feel me? The demons going to say, fight! You could do it. Read on.
And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire.
So he sent forth of his mouth fire, man. Read on.
And out of his lips a flaming breath.
Read on.
And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. And fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight.
And fell on violence upon the multitude that was prepared to fight. Hey, you got that thing with Dragon Ball? Let me see that, man. Now, when it says this, I'm going to give you all a little imagery of what taking place. Christ is opening his mouth, and all he's speaking is the word of God. All he's speaking is the commandments, and it says that going to be burning people up and destroying people. Okay? When he open, he ain't lifting up no guns, no weapons, none of that. He just opening his mouth, and he's going to destroy them armies of the earth. Okay, read that for me. Let me read that. Play that for me. Just that one part I want. When Christ open his mouth, this is what you're going to see, man. Blast coming out of his mouth. All right, that's it. Take that off. It's going to be worse than that, though. It's going to be worse than that. You know what I mean? It's going to be worse than that, man. All you're going to see is blast coming out of Christ's mouth and destroying everything. You know, read on.
And they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid.
Okay. All right. So listen. So it says when he saw that, he was afraid. Okay. When he saw that, he was afraid. Read on.
Verse 12. Afterward, I saw the same man come down from the mountain and call unto him another peaceable multitude.
All right, so from there, jump back to Revelation 12. Jump back to Revelation 12 and read that for me.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
So when it says that there were war in heaven, what is that talking about? War in where? In the kingdoms of the earth, the nations. They're going to be war in heaven. Okay? The war in heaven, when we read the scripture, it says that time of trouble that there shall never been since there was a time. All right? That's talking about World War III. That war in heaven is talking about World War III. All right? When you read Daniel 12:1, read it again for me.
And there was war in heaven. Michael.
Okay, jump to Daniel 12:1, then jump back to Revelation.
Daniel chapter 12 verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people.
And that's who Daniel standing up for, the children of Daniel people. That's who Michael's standing up for, the children of Daniel people, which is the Israelites. That's that's salvation. That's who salvation is for.
Right.
Okay. Read on.
And there shall be a time of trouble.
And that time of trouble is World War III. All right. Read on.
Such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
That time of heaven is this. That time of trouble is the same thing we're reading about in Revelation 2, Revelation 12 and 7. You understand? And there will war in heaven. Okay, that's the same time, that's the same trouble that it's talking about. Read it again.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
Read on.
And at that time, thy people shall be delivered.
What time? When we read in Revelation 12 and 7. Now they will war in heaven. Meaning when the nations and them is fighting each other. At that time, read it again.
At that time, thy people shall be delivered.
We gonna be delivered. Read on.
Everyone that shall be found written in the book.
Okay, from there, go back to Revelation and read that for me.
Revelation chapter 12 verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
So there was war in heaven, meaning the kingdoms and them was ruling with each other, was fighting with each other. Read on. Was warring with each other. This is World War III. Read on.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
And Michael and the angels going to be fighting against the so-called white man. Read on.
And the dragon fought and his angels.
And Satan going to fight the white man and that spiritual demon in him, Satan. They going to fight back. Read on.
And prevailed not.
And they not going to prevail. Read on.
Neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. I want you to go to Isaiah 14. Go to Isaiah 14. When it says there will not any place found for them anymore in heaven, go to Isaiah 14 and 12 and read that for me.
Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
When it says Lucifer is talking about America. That's who Lucifer is talking about here in Isaiah 14. Lucifer is talking about America. Okay, when it says there was found, it's talking about a white man. Okay, so when it says in Revelation that there was found no place for them, all right, it's saying the same thing here. Read it again.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
How art thou fallen from heaven? How did Lucifer fall from heaven? He fell from rulership. America fall from ruling this earth. All right. This is talking about after America is destroyed. Okay. The heaven here is talking about rulership. Okay. Read it again.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
How art thou cast down, America? Okay. That's who Lucifer is. Read on.
Son of the morning. How art thou cut down to the ground?
How art you cut down to the ground? How are you brought down to the ground? So Lucifer, which is America, was cast down from heaven to the ground. Okay? Go back to Lamentation 2:1 and read that for me. So I'm showing you all, this is not talking about, it's not talking about being cast out from the sky where the Most High dwell at. Okay? It's talking about being cast down. What? From rulership. All right? That's what it's going into. Being cast down from ruling. Okay, read on.
Lamentations chapter 2 verse 1. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth.
So the same way how the Most High cast down the Israelites from the heaven to the earth. Read on.
And cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel.
So the same way how the Most High cast down from the heaven to the earth the beauty of Israel. Go back to Isaiah 14 and read it again.
Isaiah 14 verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
It's the same way how the Most High is going to take Lucifer from heaven to the earth. All right, the same way how Israel, Zion rulership was taken away and we was taken down to the earth, it's the same way America, which is Lucifer, their rulership, their government is going to be brought down to the earth. Okay? So from there, jump back to Revelation 12 and read that for me.
Revelation chapter 12 verse 7. And there was war in heaven.
And there were war in heaven. Read on.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon.
They fought against the so-called white man. And read on.
And the dragon fought and his angels.
And the dragon fought and his angel, meaning Esau going to fight with his armies. And when it says his angels, it's also talking about them spiritual demon that's inhabiting them. Read on.
And prevailed not.
And they not going to prevail. Okay? That's what we just read in Revelation 14 and 12. Okay? Read on.
Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
And when it says neither there was any place found for them anymore in heaven, you all remember what we just read in Isaiah 14. How art thou cast down from heaven, O Lucifer? Okay, son of the morning. The word Lucifer means light bearer. Lucifer is America. When it says there was found no, read it again.
And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven.
When it says there was not found any place anymore for them in heaven, it means that their kingdom was taken away from them. You understand? It means that their rulership was taken away from them. Meaning the angels and Christ is going to destroy them. That's what's going to happen. Read on.
And the great dragon was cast out.
And that great dragon, okay, the great dragon was cast out. Read on.
That old serpent.
That old serpent. What this is letting you know? This is letting you know that old serpent. Okay, that old serpent that was there in the beginning, that old serpent is working in who? It's working in Esau. Read on.
That old serpent called the devil.
Called the devil. Read on.
And Satan.
And Satan. Read on.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
That deceived the whole world. Y'all understand? Because who have deceived the world today? You know, because a Christian going to read this and they're going to say, oh, the devil, the so-called devil, the spiritual demon is deceived the world. You know? But guess what? Yes, Satan deceived the world, but he's working with somebody. You understand what I mean? He's working with the so-called white man. He's the one that deceived the world. He's the one that taught lies that taught you that you are not an Israelite. You know what I mean? He's the one that taught you that Jesus Christ is white. He's the one that pushed all these lies up all over the world. The so-called white man is the one that does that. He's the deceiver. He's the damn devil, the so-called white man. You know what I mean? And that old serpent is working in him. Okay? So with that, I hope you all got some out of the class, man.
All praises to the Most High.
Shalom. You all stay tuned. Bishop Kadnai gonna be coming up next. You all stay tuned, all right? And have a blessed Sabbath. You don't know. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
133. Brotherhood and unity. 133. 133. 133.